Hit it.
We did it.
Tim,
We are on time-ish.
It's Monday. Frank, you're here.
I'm here, but I have a concern.
Uh-oh. I'm nervous.
Yesterday, during the third service, I saw something really unusual. And what's going on?
I don't even know.
I'm trying to have a
All the
conversation.
different devices. I'm trying to mute my computer. It's coming through my phone.
I'm trying to
Don't
be
worry about
professional here, guys.
it. We're a
Okay.
very professional podcast.
During the third service, something unusual happened, and I've never seen it in a church.
Yeah.
A Democrat showed up?
What?
Sorry, I like to make fun of your church sometimes because it's growing.
How dare you?
God is moving.
We have a diverse congregation.
Anyways, Timothy, what happened in the third service?
Look, the only thing I know is my family was a few minutes late, so we had to sit in the front row. I don't know if it was the first song or the second song, but I look up and it didn't register in my brain until I was like, oh, this is actually happening. And then I was like, oh, this might be on the live stream. We had the golf cart operating, and our golf cart operator, I guess, thought it would be a good idea to give maybe it was a new family.
Okay,
a
when you
tour.
say golf cart operator, that sounds like, they've been trained.
Yeah.
They're certified.
Yes.
Certified-
They have been. Like they go through training to do the golf cart.
Certified
It's like
golf
a thing.
cart people.
It's a thing. So we only have like one or two people that are trained on the golf cart. And I
I've
guess
driven that golf cart.
I guess he thought now's a good time to give a tour of Lakeview Church, and decided to just casually stroll right behind the church where we're covered in windows. There's 200 plus people worshiping.
You should put some cones out there to say no golf cart traffic in this area.
Literally,
During
Everyone's
the
just
service.
watching this family stroll by.
a full golf cart too. Like
There's probably like 9 people.
front
in this
row, back row, back row. You know what I'm saying? Like it was a full golf cart, and I was just like, what is happening? It was crazy.
I'm guessing it happened because yesterday was Sunday.
And this right here.
Is the morning after.
Welcome to the Morning After Ministry Show, a caffeine-fueled look back on the week and ministry that was.
Should I keep drinking this? It's kind of how I'm
Your
feeling
coffee?
right- Yeah, it's like I should have eaten more than just cookies with my coffee.
Stop it.
And sometimes coffee makes me more hungry. It's one of those times.
Happy Monday, boys and girls. We've missed you so much. We have so much to catch up on.
Listen, here's the thing. We have windows to our parking lot. You can look and
We
see
do.
them right here. And so whenever anybody strolls in late or
True.
what was really bad was when
Do people not use the back?
I would say we have maybe 10% of people use this door because
Yeah.
we park up and down this side street here. We have,
But your regulars, they're walking in right up front.
yeah, our regulars come in off the parking lot.
Yeah.
And so but you can see the parking lot. The windows are waist high on that side. And so but also we have the market on Main Street. And so we have people that are like, hey, maybe I should park in this church parking lot during service.
Yeah.
Even though there's no spots. And so people will drive through, and anytime anything happens in the parking lot during service, you can see. And what was really bad was during COVID, we had the church plant meeting in our fellowship hall.
I remember that.
So we had service at 10. They had service at 11:30. So their setup crew would get here to start setting up during our service.
Uh-huh.
And one of the families had like teenage boys that they would bring their skateboards to downtown Safety Harbor. So and we had 35, 40 people in the room because it was during COVID. Most of our people
Sure.
were still online. And there were kids doing kick flips right outside the window.
Not
And I had
distracting at all.
I had to
cool.
say, first of all, these windows were installed when the building was built in 1960. They're not exactly soundproof windows.
True. Very true.
Skateboards have a very distinctive sound on asphalt. And when your 12-year-old is concussing himself and I'm trying to preach, I know that I'm not the most compelling of communicators, but no one's holding someone's attention when a kid's got a bloody forehead
No.
right outside the window.
That's awesome.
No.
That's awesome.
Wow.
You think kids getting hurt is awesome?
I think it's
Wait,
awesome
Frank.
that you're in the middle of a sermon and people are just skateboarding out.
Just
there.
doing
I
their
think that's
thing.
so funny.
Yeah.
Also,
What happens.
why don't you just close the blinds? I'm looking over there.
You could
You can
easily.
see- I don't know.
Not for the sound, but like
First
from
of all,
seeing.
They're really ugly. That's
blinds?
Yes, they're Venetian.
I'm surprised you haven't changed those to curtains, like something.
They're kind of traditional, older church.
They look like
curtains.
Florida in 1985.
If you're watching, they look similar. There's a similar texture and color as the ones up
They
up
are
there.
like Venetian vertical blinds,
Ooh.
I believe is what
We
they're
say
called.
Venetian. That's fancy.
And someone's like, we could
very,
dye
very
those
fancy.
or paint them. Like we could just burn them. I
Paint
don't know.
them. It's a lot of work.
It's a whole lot of work. I don't know.
Wow.
Curtains aren't cheap though.
Curtains are not
Like if
cheap.
you want a
window treatments.
yeah, it's not cheap.
So when we were getting this room that we're in now, you guys can't see it, but directly on the other side of us is a wall of windows. Tim could use his phone to show you what we're looking at because there's a giant wall of windows.
could.
He
I don't
doesn't
feel
feel
like
like it right now. So we were getting this room. We were kind of getting an estimate for what would it take to do different things in here, and it would be cheaper to wall up this wall and put cinder block so that it matches this side of the room.
CJ says, why are we surprised Andrew hasn't
That's
changed the
hurtful.
blinds when he still uses PowerPoint?
You say Andrew like I am the one person in this church. There's a whole lot of people. It's working.
So true, CJ. So true.
I hate the blinds.
Andrew's
and I've
name
made
is-
it very, very clear to anybody and everybody. However, windows are expensive. Window treatments are expensive.
They are.
And the PowerPoint works fine.
His name is Andrew Pragmatic Larson for a reason.
Do you know how often I show up on a
Quote,
Monday
it works just fine.
and I hear people lamenting, "Oh, Pro Presenter went down again. Can you believe it on a Sunday morning?" Well,
Every now and then, sure, that happens. But you're not going to win an argument that
do you know
that
what?
PowerPoint is the
You know what's
premier
never gone down?
presentation tool.
2007
I was like,
PowerPoint
you know what
of
doesn't go
Windows
down?
ME.
Windows XP, baby.
It's Windows 10 PowerPoint. It's great. Never goes down.
This gateway
Hey.
computer.
Right at that intersection over there, there's a beautiful four-door Jeep Wrangler.
That was a fancy 4-door Jeep Wrangler.
It's a little bit lower than some cool ones that I've seen
I
recently.
mean, if you're gonna go Jeep, I'd get some chunky tires, maybe get a little bit of a lift kit on there. Decent sound
we're excited
system.
to hang out with you guys.
He says my wife and I cannot wait. Love
It's
it.
very exciting.
Love it. Excited to host. City Lights Church says, good morning. Hey, if you're in here's the deal. If you're in the Scranton, PA area, you're looking for a good church, there's no celebrities in town. They're probably holding service.
Yeah. If there's not an election happening
True.
with a celebrity endorsing a candidate with a concert nearby, City Light Church is the place to be. You should be there.
Adam says, what's PowerPoint? Adam, you're going to have to call your grandpa and ask him. Brittany says, or at least Google Slides. That's true.
I mean,
That's true. Google Slides.
Sure.
You could.
we could.
You could.
Wadsworth, what's up, buddy?
Tim, do you love us?
He says he
This
does.
is the first time you've commented on this show in 6 years.
I mean,
I love you
he
too.
has a job. Not
That's true.
Not everybody
true.
gets to be like, hey, do you know what we should do for our 2 hours on a Monday?
Hang out with each other.
Let's claim to be working when we're really doing this.
What do you think this is?
It's work.
This is
This is-
networking.
We're
This is-
networking. We're engaging with the
Connecting
community.
local area
We're
pastors.
connecting with congregants from.
There's members
Yeah.
here. There's other
our
pastors.
church, not the STEM church.
Yes, it's your church.
Our
too.
church, Frank.
It is
You
your
are on
church
staff.
now,
You literally
too.
preached 2 weeks ago. You're preaching again in 2 weeks.
Sorry.
Come on now.
He works there.
Come on now. Andrew, I have a bit of an obsessive personality sometimes when it comes to certain things.
Yeah.
This includes when it's time to, I don't know, purchase a new vehicle.
When it's time to upgrade. It's time to spend some of that Lakeview money.
So, I did.
It was time.
Adam, I know you're wondering if it was a Tesla. It was not a Tesla. The price range was close. I could have gotten into a 2019 Tesla for about the price that we paid for the Jeep. However, Jared, we're coming. We'll get there. My wife gets
Hang on.
car sickness
Jared,
in Teslas.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, we're going to talk about this.
When are you moving to the area? When are we hanging out? Let's do this.
Andrew, we're in the middle of a story. You
I
do
know,
this
but-
every time.
I got him.
Okay.
Talk to the story. I'll talk
This
to
is
Jared.
classic Larson. So all that to
We
say,
have a big TV up in front of us now so I can see all the comments.
my wife gets car sick in Teslas. I still want one. However, we thought it would be fun to do something very, very different. So we got ourselves a 2018 Jeep Wrangler JK edition.
Just kidding? I don't know what the JK stands for.
the JK model ended in 2018, and the tail end of 2018, the JL started. They're currently in the JL editions. It's a ton of fun. The previous owner was an airline pilot. He just thought it'd be fun to get his son a new car and to soup it up and put some chunky tires, get a good lift put on there, a decent sound system.
I'm an expert in things that are chunky, and it definitely has chunky tires.
It's a lot of fun. Andrew was wondering about the gas mileage. Yeah, it's terrible. It's terrible. Like, it's not good.
You showed up at my house.
And I immediately said, I need to go get gas.
Shortly after you bought it.
Yeah.
And is there anything worse than filling up a car? I don't know if you've ever totaled a car, Tim. But the 2 car accidents that I have ever been in,
for sure,
neither one, well, one of them was my fault, that a car was just done. I'd gotten a full tank of gas right before it.
Yeah.
And that was just the worst. So I appreciate the guy selling you the car when it was already nearing empty, because you don't want to give someone your gas.
Why would you ever want to do that?
Yeah, you don't give away your gas. Gas is expensive,
It's
and so
not. It
do
is
that way.
absolutely not cheap. But I will say this: it's a ton of fun. My wife loves it, which is super important to me.
That's a good thing.
She's a big fan of being in a vehicle that is not 3 inches off the ground.
I also understand that. Yeah.
Not a huge deal. Someone was asking for a Jeep pick. We could probably pull that off. So here is what my kids have affectionately named her, Bluey.
I know a song about that.
So this is Bluey, the newest member of the Miller family. We'll see if we can get that.
That's just the tires.
You can sort of see
the
it.
Tires, Tim.
And then we can scroll up. You can get like kind of a better view of it. And there she is. It's a vehicle. It works. It's got the features that we wanted, and I think we'll have lots of fun. I guess I should probably say that Lakeview has quite a few Jeep owners, and I was peer pressured into it.
Okay, I get it.
But what's really cool is one of our church members is an avid Jeep owner and was like, "Hey man, if you go," he found the Jeep for me, Facebook Marketplace. He was sending me, like, he was researching it more than I was. He was just so excited. The Jeep community apparently is intertwined like that.
I guess so.
He said, if you go look at this, I will send my Jeep expert to meet you there, and he will do a full inspection.
I don't even have a Jeep expert.
I do now. He said he will do a full inspection and run the diagnostics before you even test drive this thing to see if it's worth it. The dude showed up, super pro, had all the gear, got under the car, got in the hood. You name it, he did it. He said, take it for a test drive. We took it for a test drive. He then left, texted me, you should pay this price for this Jeep. And so that's the price I paid for that Jeep.
There you go.
Here's my favorite part about the Jeep: $0 a month.
I'm a big fan.
Yes, there will be gas bills. Yes, there's insurance. But for the first time in
a long time
in my marriage with my wife, we have $0.
I'm glad you clarified your marriage with your wife. Because there was another marriage we don't talk about.
Long time ago. That's not true.
It's not true.
No car payments is a lot of fun.
They were 12 when they got married. So
I'm a big fan of no car payments. All right, so I want to get back to a comment because something very important is happening in the comment section that, well, we need to talk about. Jared says, hey guys, just accepted a pastor position in St. Pete, which is
that
5 miles that way. We can see it from here. Not too far away.
Be on the roof. We can get on the roof later.
Would y'all be willing, listen to this. I mean, I don't know. Could we do this, guys? Would y'all be willing to pour into another pastor?
As long as you're pouring right back.
In ministry in the area. Jared, can you be here
by lunchtime?
You guys,
I'm dead serious.
You guys aren't reading the comments. There's more to this conversation. He gets here in March.
Okay.
Wait, there's more comments?
Yeah, just scroll down. He gets here in March.
Sorry.
Also, he was my suite mate when I played for Charleston Southern.
What?
No way.
He was yeah. This was a really small world. Yeah.
All right, so when you get here in March, day 1, we're taking you out to lunch. Andrew's buying, obviously.
What?
Obviously. Fine. Cannot wait. Absolutely cannot wait. CJ says, welcome to the Jeep fam. CJ, does CJ drive a Jeep? I don't. I'm going to bring you a duck. We have a few ducks. Yes.
Frank just said someone gave him a Trump duck at church.
Is that not true?
Guys, you're proving my points. All you're doing is making me look right. Listen, I get it, but you're writing the jokes for me, and I appreciate that. Thank you.
I was given my first duck yesterday at church, and yes, the duck had features that might resemble our incoming president, Donald Trump. I don't know if it's classified as a Trump duck, but it may or may not have the same hair, may or may not be in a suit.
The hotel that I was at in Scotland, where where we did the morning after from, they give everybody a rubber ducky when they check in, which is so odd to me. It's like a fairly fancy hotel, and they're like, "We are so glad you're here, sir. May we present you with your duck?" What? It's in my kid's bathtub, but which would have been really cool 5 years ago when all my kids were taking baths with rubber duckies.
Brittany, thanks for hopping on. I was like, aren't you teaching?
Older.
Brittany's a teacher. Bella says, love you, Uncle T. Tell my niece I love her with all my heart. Brittany goes to Lakeview and also teaches my niece at CCA right up the road.
Oh, there you go.
Thanks for hopping on. Brittany, you should be working right now.
Listen, I don't want to brag, but the First Lutheran Flames did not win a lot of soccer games this year.
Ooh, the 2019 JL.
Did
nice,
beat
CJ. Nice.
CCA, though. That was
I'm proud of you.
One of my coaching victories that there aren't a lot of them. It was a pretty big deal.
I am so proud of you. So that's what's been going on in my world. But we also had a very exciting week because Frank attended his first elder meeting as an advisor to the elder board.
Made everyone mad.
Assistant
I made everyone
to the elder
mad.
board.
Assistant too. Frank came in guns blazing. I said, Frank, why don't you share what you shared in staff meeting, which were just some general observations with his, first week on the job. Here's some things I've noticed in the last 2 months since I've been attending Lakeview.
I don't want Frank coming here. He's going to make everybody mad.
I already gave you all my observations.
It was awesome. So Frank, I want to hear from you now that you're a couple of days post elder meeting. How are you feeling? How do you think it went? Are you excited about attending monthly elder meetings? I told the board last week this marks my 11th year in a row of attending monthly elder meetings. So I'm so excited.
It's a lot of elder meetings.
Started in 2015.
Yeah. I thought it was great. The pizza was good. We had some really good pizza, even though Tim didn't.
I messed up the pizza order. When I get Sicilian pizza from California Pizza Kitchen, it's covered in meats.
Which also California Pizza Kitchen, the most authentic pizza you can find in the country.
Where is a California Pizza Kitchen besides
International Mall, right?
Mall?
That's where we go.
That's not close
He
to
drives
church.
45 minutes from.
We didn't get it from the church. I'm saying, you didn't let me finish the story.
Okay.
I ordered a Sicilian pizza from Joey's, which is an authentic Italian
that makes me
pizza
feel
eatery.
so much better. I thought you were picking up pizza at International Mall.
No. We only order local. We ordered Joey's, and I ordered the Sicilian, assuming it's going to have all sorts of meat toppings. So I ordered two. It was all cheese. I hate cheese pizza. It's the worst type of pizza.
Yeah,
Kevin McAllister is a big fan of cheese pizza.
I want protein. Like, that's not going to do it.
This elder meeting wasn't a pizza tasting place, but the pizza was still good. The pizza was good.
The pizza was fine. Tim is the Mike Evans of attending elder meetings.
11 years in a row, baby.
11 years. All right, Frank, let's hear it.
So I think I really enjoyed it. I actually, in my last church, only attended elder meetings maybe once a year.
When he was getting reprimanded?
No.
Oh, I guess I never asked that. I didn't know that. I thought you attended elder meetings.
Nope. I attended once a year to give an update about my campus.
Yeah.
And then prior to that, updates about the student ministry. I would say 10 years before that, in my church in Arkansas, I was at elder meetings. And I'll just say that this elder meeting, I guess from never attending elder meetings, I didn't know a lot about the structures of what happens in elder meeting. Sure. It was very official, which I guess it should be.
Follow Robert's rules and all that stuff.
Yeah, so it was that was really neat. I'll say this: I've said this multiple times already. One thing I really love about Lakeview elders that I hope and pray that when my church plants, I will have an elder board like this. Is that the elders of Lakeview do eldering stuff, as in think about the church members. They're actively reaching out and contacting church members. They're serving. They're involved. And that's just there's so many churches where elder boards are like a board of directors.
The 8 nicest cars in the parking lot.
Sure. And they just kind of make sure that the finances are solvent and that everything is okay, but not necessarily doing the work of the ministry. And so it's really cool to see that these men that I see on Sunday mornings who are just greeting people, serving in different capacities, are the same people behind a closed door making significant decisions and discussing significant things. And so it was really cool. So anyways, this is not me to praise the elders, but like
No, keep it coming. I love it.
but yeah, it was cool, and it was also
but we've all been to churches where that's not the case.
Right. Sure.
The people doing the work of
Sure.
ministry are the volunteers, and the elders are sitting up,
yeah,
looking out their third-story
Yeah,
window at the peasants doing the
Yeah.
actual work. That's not the case.
And I will say we're doing a better job of delegating now. When we went through the big transition in 2019, our elders had to take on probably more responsibility than an elder should have to take on. So we've obviously, we've added staff. Hey, Frank, we have added quite a few volunteers to help relieve the burden. Because what we want our elders to be able to do is the ministry of the word and prayer, right? Like as the New Testament teaches. So that's the goal. But yeah, they're still in some of the nitty gritty stuff too. But they are actively working themselves out of that job as we appoint new leaders. But as overseers, killing it.
One thing I was like looking forward to seeing, I haven't told Tim this, was to see how Tim interacts with a group of men that are all older than him, and seeing like what that relationship is like. He's sitting next to his dad. He's sitting next to Sam. It's in between the head elder and his dad.
I got to sit at the right hand of Sam Redkin, which is a very high honor.
Wow.
And
And
like,
my dad sat at my right hand.
I bet you he smelled great.
Always smells great.
I sat at the right hand of your dad, which is really cool too. And like we talked about some uncomfortable things, and like it was just cool, just seeing how everyone interacted. Everyone was very charitable. It was one of the best elder meetings I got to go to, because I haven't been to many. So it was
hopefully
good.
they just keep getting better.
Yeah, it was great.
Andrew,
We just had to
Safety Harborland?
We had to reschedule an elders meeting. It was supposed to be on the 16th, but now we're having to bump to the 30th.
this is your once a year elder meeting?
How
guys
dare
do?
you? We meet more than that, Tim. But we have once a year that our elders meeting is extra special because we eat at this restaurant right over here that is
fantastic.
about 25
fantastic.
steps from where we are sitting. The kitchen at Safety Harbor, they host an elders and staff dinner every year for us, and it was originally going to be a Christmas dinner, but we said we're kind of busy that time of year. Let's do it right after Christmas. And so we're doing a big fancy dinner here in a couple of weeks.
You still haven't had your annual dinner?
No, we do it at the end of January. January elders meeting is
I always thought it was earlier.
no, it's our January elders
I
meeting.
knew about the tradition. It used to be here.
No,
Oh,
It's
I
always
thought
done
you did
this-
it when it was the pizza place.
no,
Oh,
no. So my
You've always done it at.
yeah, my first-ish year here, this restaurant was expanding, and they built a new deck which covered one of their parking spots, so that when they went to reopen, the city said you can't reopen until you have the same parking that you did before.
I see.
And the city was going to try to sell them a street spot for $15,000, and
Yikes.
that's a lot of money.
Yikes.
And they said,
That's
well,
scary.
unless you can find someplace else. And so we have agreed to let them use our parking lot, which all their customers use our parking lot anyway. For a while before the preschool was here, we had a sign in the nursery window that said, this spot is for the kitchen. And the city hasn't come by to check since then, so we're good. And they write us a check for $100 a month and
I love
cover a very expensive staff and elders dinner once a year.
Nice.
It's a pretty sweet
Smart.
gig.
You cannot complain about that
No. And
at all.
we also follow Robert's rules for about 3% of our meetings. It's kind of open discussion. Then when we actually have to vote on something, we have to make it official for the minutes and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But a little bit informal until we have to be formal, and then we
I get it.
That's good.
do the formal stuff. Timmy and Frank, I'm so used to just looking over at Tim when I'm
I'm here too.
There's more
You
than
are.
just me.
I'll lean back and say, hey, both of you. We had kind of a interesting last minute thing happen on Sunday morning. We had taken all of the decorations down for Christmas. I know you guys did your big undecking of the halls.
We undecked the halls
Last Sunday?
the first Sunday after New Year's.
So yeah, we had our Christmas stuff up last Sunday, and we were taking it down this week, but some schedules got changed and flipped around.
Yeah, this is a little bit
And
late.
We had one tree.
Might as well just keep them up at this point.
The big tree was up here, but it was unplugged. The decorations were done, but there was nobody that should be taking a tree down available to take the tree down when it needed to be taken down. So our praise team, they finished their praise set or their rehearsal at 9:25 for the 10 o'clock service, and it was really funny. Like, all right, we're gonna do this, 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 and this, and it was fantastic. It's amazing what happens when you have 8 or 9 people doing a task that
I love it.
typically 2 or 3 volunteers are doing. It was I wish I would have gotten it on video to be like, hey, looks like our worship leaders are leading and serving in other areas as well. But it was kind of neat for a quick pivot. And by the time everybody else got here, nobody even realized that the tree had been up until that very morning.
I'm proud
and
of
then
you.
it came down. We threw away our tree at home.
It was time.
It was time. It was,
That's kind of sad.
well, it was like a 7-year-old Black Friday special tree.
We have those.
And so it, it wasn't as springy as it used to be. And so when we took everything down, I said that tree's not going back in storage. We'll get a new one next year. And we took it out.
I took 3 trees from Lakeview.
Did you really? When they were,
No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, so when they were
They got rid of like all their trees.
We got rid of. We opted to wait till Christmas was over, and we bought all new Christmas decorations.
there you go.
It was time. We haven't done it in forever, so we just told the people, hey, if you want something, it's all yours.
Take it home.
So anybody wanted a fake tree or two, there you go.
We always debate if I think we should get like a super tall, skinny one to go right here, like at the highest point.
It would look pretty.
I think so too.
It would look pretty. Andrew, what teaching series are you in? Have you
We're-
officially launched something new?
Yeah, we're in the Kingdom Come series that we started last week. We're in 1st and 2nd Thessalonians, and we're doing just the eschatological passages in 1st and 2nd Thessalonians. So we were in
Interesting.
chapter 4 yesterday that, don't grieve as the rest of mankind. And we, of course, we had multiple families in the church that had lost someone this past week. And I was like, oh, I mean, it's serendipitous in the timing, but also like,
Sure.
hey, I'm not talking just to you. But it's when you've had something on the schedule for 6 months and then that particular Sunday
That's interesting.
hits at that particular time.
It's almost like you didn't even plan that.
It's but also like we don't want to. Sometimes that's a great message to hear 6 months later, not 6 hours later.
Indeed.
But that's where we were, and as I said last week, I am less comfortable preaching in the epistles than any other type of literature. I don't know what that is. Maybe I should see a therapist or something.
That's so weird.
I know. It's the most applicable part of Scripture.
Yeah.
That I think.
Are you scared of preaching hard truths?
No, I think what it is that it's a sermon that most.
Would you rather just tell a story?
I wouldn't rather just tell a story, Tim. I want the sermon to be 28 to 32 minutes.
It's fine.
And sometimes it's hard when you're
28 feels short.
I agree. I was trying to dumb it down a little bit for the sake of this argument. But a lot of the passages in the epistles, you either need to combine 2 passages and have a point A and a point B, or it's harder to justify getting 28 minutes out of a 6-verse section for me.
Well, we are back in
You're
First Corinthians. We took a month and a half off for the Advent season and the New Year's kickback, which honestly, Frank and Todd back to back, like a 1-2 punch in preaching. They did a great job. So
It was like, this is your first time preaching in a month.
it was my first time preaching since December 24th.
That was Christmas Eve.
So not quite a month, but yes, I did have 2 Sundays off in a row, and it was awesome. And you're never going to believe this, Andy, but it was round 2 of the Corinthian sex talk.
You do love a Corinthian sex talk.
Round 2 of like 7.
If you've read First Corinthians, you know what's coming. And like, do I need to warn parents?
I'm not letting my teenage boys read 1 Corinthians.
I'm like,
I'm going to go through the Bible plan. Sorry, boys.
The
We'll read Songs of Solomon before we read 1 Corinthians.
the last sex talk,
Especially the illustrated Bible that they use. It's
I sent an email out to the church. I let all the parents know, hey, this is coming. And then I didn't really give much of a warning this time. So I'm like, look, I did that last time. I'm assuming people are now reading ahead because they know the content of the book. And there were quite a few kids in service. And I felt a little bit awkward.
earmuffs, kids.
I felt a little bit awkward. Frank, I know you were there for a couple of services, but I used a particular line in service.
Frank, who are you telling that I'm a fan of the At the Movies series?
that.
I'm just looking at the comments.
I'm reading the comments because Frank is just going to town.
CJ said, put the comment on the screen.
Okay, let's go.
CJ said, just show a movie clip and loosely relate it to scripture. And I was like, yeah, Andrew's a big fan of the movie series.
That's hurtful. I am a big fan of having snacks in church, though. When I worked at Fellowship in Grapevine, when they were doing the movie series every summer, we had popcorn for everybody. Got popcorn when they walked in, and then for like $1, you could buy some Mike and Ike's. And I thought, this is
Man, in 2007, that was awesome. Let's do that again in 2025. Can we move past that?
It really was great in 2007.
Andrew still has PowerPoint, so you can go back to 2007.
Again, in 2007, that was so cool.
And you could buy some Tom's shoes in the lobby.
Oh my god.
So good.
With your 2 Right Love on Her Arms shirt. Anyways,
Stop.
okay.
Okay, here's the deal. Yes, it was another sex talk in Corinthians. There's a point in 1 Corinthians chapter 6 where Paul quotes Genesis and talks about the two becoming one flesh. So I had
Also a Spice Girls song.
I just mentioned.
What? Is it?
Yeah.
Don't question Andrew's.
Okay.
When
You did this, Frank.
I'm sorry. I didn't. There was a name.
I need some love like I've never needed love before.
This is gonna get
Wanna
flagged.
Make love to you, baby.
That's inappropriate.
That's a Spice
Melissa,
Girls
he's
song.
singing to you. That's
How do you think
only
I
way
know?
That's appropriate.
Listen, Melissa is a big fan of the Spice Girls.
So is Stephanie.
Hey, tell us about the sermon.
Okay, whatever. Two becoming one flesh. I just mentioned when first command of the Bible, to be fruitful and multiply.
Yeah.
Which is very, very true. So in service 1 and 2, my line was when Steph and I got married, we opened up our Bibles, we took the quote literally. I'll introduce you to all 5 of my kids later. Got a great laugh.
It's a good bit.
Got a great laugh. However, I wasn't anticipating my family including 4 out of 5 of my kids in service, which normally that's not the case.
Well, it's because they were late.
4 out of
They were
5
late to church. They didn't go into Kidsman.
sat in the front row, and I used that line. I looked over and I said, I'll introduce you to my kids later, and pointed at my kids, and the entire
And they're-
congregation looked, and everyone's face went red. Emily, my 15-year-old, buried her head in her lap, and I'm like, and I like Frank, I kind of lost it. Like I lost my momentum.
It was but it was endearing
because
yeah.
I was like, I'm so sorry. Like, I told my kids, like, I just now realized as I'm staring at your faces how embarrassing that line is because you're in the room and you were not in the room for the last 2 services. I was like, I'm going to hear about this probably for the rest of my life.
Everyone loved it though. Everyone loved it.
Because it's like one of the cardinal sins of preaching is like embarrassing your kids in an illustration. Like it was not intentional. I didn't use them specifically, but I did use them specifically in a way. You live and you learn.
You also made a fun reference about a certain city being the same context as Corinth, which I thought was shocking. But I think your congregation, I think, likes a little blue humor. So
They
our congregation,
Just not blue voters.
Oh my God.
I would say at Lakeview, if you wanted to go, stop it. If you were to go somewhat shock jock preaching, they'd probably laugh harder. Frank, would you agree? Like,
Yeah,
I think you could tiptoe that line at Lakeview more so than maybe.
You're not gonna have a bunch
other
of
places.
curmudgeons that are gonna be like, I'm offended because of this. I mean,
I love the curmudgeon voice Frank just used.
yeah. I mean, it's kind of sweet, but like, yeah, that joke you made, I was thinking in previous churches where like, if I were to make a comment about a certain city in the area as like this lawless, super crazy city, I would be getting emails like, I used to live there or whatever.
My
and I'm
mom
like,
still does.
yeah. So, and yeah, you got a good laugh in the room. So anyway.
The best part is I used that bit 2 months ago.
Oh.
And I realized there was a lot of new faces. And I guess it's okay. I don't know. How do you feel about reusing a bit?
I do the same. I use Ocala as anytime you reference hillbillies or whatever.
And I use Pasco County. So
Yeah.
if we're talking hillbillies in a sense, like Nazareth or something
Yeah.
like that, then I'll reference Pasco County. Usually gets a laugh.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's geography jokes, man.
So we're back in 1
Never-
Corinthians.
Never not funny.
Never not funny. And Frank, you're coming up. You're preaching in 2 weeks, and this will be your first time preaching in series. So this is interesting. I don't know if I told
As
you.
an actual member of the staff.
So
Although he
I've
did
had-
introduce himself as a pastor before he was on staff.
That's true. Frank, I've had several people reach out and have said to me, Frank's great, but can he go verse by verse like we're used to?
Ooh.
So I'm not saying there's any pressure, Frank.
I can actually.
It's about to
but
happen.
it's coming up. You're 2 weeks out.
What if I just showed up and booed in the back of the room?
That would be epic.
I love it.
Have you read the passage?
Yeah.
Have you done a little bit of groundwork?
What's great is the passage I'm doing is like in the middle of this, marriage, sex, sexual morality, singleness stuff.
Next week is a biblical principles for a healthy marriage.
Yeah.
But
after that, which is my sermon, is about like Paul basically saying like, hey, if let's say you're married and you become a Christian and your spouse is not a Christian.
Oh yeah.
To be like, don't divorce that person just because they're like you just became a Christian.
Super practical.
Kind of like stay where you are, and it's all about like calling and contentment. So it's great. I was gonna say it's less awkward than all the sex stuff that Tim's talking about, but literally in my passage it talks about circumcision and slavery. So I have to do some cultural navigation. Also in my passage, Paul says if you are not circumcised, you don't need to get circumcised, and if you are circumcised, you don't have to remove the mark of circumcision. Which, by the way, how do you do that?
I have wondered that.
I've read commentaries, and it involves surgical.
It's kind of like in
surgical
Galatians where Paul's like, we're not checking at the door, right? Which is that awkward, like you're wondering how they knew if they were circumcised.
I don't know how I'm going to talk. I mean, every circumcision sermon is always awkward because you're like, do I talk about it? Do I not talk about it?
You have to go for
it.
You have to go for it.
But yeah, that's another level I've never had to preach on. How do you remove the mark of circumcision? That's fun. Anyways.
CJ says, I still think the next time Frank preaches for Andrew, he should dress and preach like Andrew. How great would that be?
I think that would be
Get
fantastic.
the tie on, put the tie clip on, get a stool up there.
I look like a stressed out businessman from Japan.
Make sure the mic cable is draped over the front of you.
I have multiple of these glasses tie clips. If you want one,
all right.
I have lots of knit ties.
Rick says, Tim, the stand-up Polk County checks all the geographic negative boxes. Absolutely, Rick. We could throw Polk County into that mix as well.
Nice.
Erica, she's talking about possibly a series or a book called Growing Up Pastored for all kids whose parents are employees or pastors of the church.
I love it.
There are a few of those out there. I think it was John Piper's son who wrote one.
Barnabas.
Fascinating read on the life of a pastor's kid. I think I read it like the week it came out because I was like, wow, I can, as a pastor's son.
Going back to Fellowship Church world, I realized there's lots of, it's really easy to poke fun at the big giant mega churches.
Yeah.
But they do a thing called PK Vacay every year where there's a camp that they own.
That's sweet.
And they have a camp
Wow.
that is just for pastors' kids. And it's
that's so cool.
Listen, we get it. There's a different stress level that you deal with at church that no other kid is.
Yeah.
And I think that it's a wonderful, wonderful thing.
Yeah, my son after church on Sunday said, Dad, I never want to sit in the front row again. I said, well, then show up on time.
He didn't drive. It's not his fault.
You don't know how long it takes him to get ready.
I was going to say, he did have to get his hair looking.
Wait, whoa. Like, I love your son, but he was like very casual on Sunday, his outfit.
You're talking about his sleeveless hoodie?
Gym shorts
with his
and
backwards
Crocs.
ball cap?
Yeah. I mean, if that takes a lot of time, then God bless
The
him.
man takes his shower. He wants to smell good.
That's good.
Wants to make sure his sleeveless hoodie fits just right.
Right.
Smelling good is more advanced than most boys his age.
He's 13 years old and he wants to smell good.
That's
I can't
good.
complain about that.
That he could smell bad, which you'd want to avoid.
It's not
You want
what
to
you want.
avoid that in teenage boys. I'm going to just say that some of them don't smell good.
Speaking of middle school and high schoolers, we had our annual Christmas tree burn
I saw that.
last Wednesday. It's a tradition that dates back many, many moons. Andrew, you've done many of those with me.
I have.
We ask all the members of the congregation, hey, if you have a live Christmas tree, preferably not a dead one, because that's a dangerous burn, bring them to the church. Our teenagers are going to burn them. They're going to have some fun at youth group.
Have you expanded the size of the fire pit since the one tree went down?
We are supposed to be doing that.
Okay.
I don't know what the holdup is. We already said, yes, let's move forward. We just haven't done it yet. Andrew, this was the first Christmas tree burn that I've ever missed. We had an elder meeting. I missed the entire burn. I was very disappointed. I loved it, though, because from what I heard, Todd, who's a former firefighter,
It's really funny. I forgot about that.
had a safety rope,
It sounds about
and you were not allowed to cross said safety rope. So some of the comments from the students were, yeah, it was fun. We were just really, really safe this year.
We were just really far away from the fire.
I am no fire safety expert, so I should probably say that I did not adhere to any sort of fire safety code.
That
But
makes
thank
sense.
you, Todd, for keeping my kids safe at the annual Christmas tree burn.
No one who was not authorized to burn got to do any burning.
Did you kick back into gear in youth ministry?
We did. We kicked back this past Wednesday night. Typically, we walk to one of the many places
That's
out
what I
on
thought.
Main Street to get something delicious after Bible study, but it was really cold. It was like 45 degrees on Wednesday night. So we had a hot chocolate bar in here instead of
Nice.
walking out to get snow cones or ice cream. And here's what I discovered. Tim, life is expensive. I was like, this will be great. We'll save money because usually if you take 10 or 12 kids to buy snow cones, it's $40.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, I'm paying for ice chips covered in syrup, but whatever, it's what you do.
The students have fun.
Oh, they love
love it.
it
It's so-
every week.
it's so unique.
I get text messages every week from kids like trying to vote for different places that we're going to get.
You're
this-
able to
this
do
stuff.
something in student ministry land that so
That-
many
yeah.
youth pastors would love to be able to
Who
do.
would love to be able to walk to a
So cool.
local dessert place, but so I thought we're not going to do that this week. We'll kick off the year, and I got cookies and I got flavored creamer and all this stuff,
Sounds great.
and I go to check out. I spent more money on Tim and Frank. I feel so bad.
I'm,
You're here too.
I'm part of the
I
comments.
spent more
You can
money
just look ahead. There's the screen. You
on
see-
a hot chocolate bar than I do taking 10 or 12 kids to buy dessert.
Yeah, of course you do.
So,
That's yeah.
and the kids are like, well, there's no excuse to not walk and get dessert. But I'm like, you want to get ice cream outside when it's 45 degrees?
Kid would.
And they do. They're big fans.
They don't care.
They don't care.
Hey, I have a question for you guys. That something happened to me this past week, and I'd be interested in knowing in the comments if this ever happened to them. So I got to do the announcements on Sunday.
Yeah, you did.
It was video announcements.
You looked great on screen, Frank.
It was cool. I was matching.
I didn't know you were doing them.
Yeah.
So when I was doing a run through on Saturday night at the church, I was like, "Hey, Frank's on announcements." It was awesome. It was awesome.
Yeah, it was super fun.
I love that no one asked or told me. I'm like that. That is such a good sign.
Do
Oh.
you feel like you didn't have to show up yesterday because people would have seen you in the announcements? Like, I didn't sleep in.
Well, because here's the thing. I got mentioned like 3 times in the service. Like there,
On purpose?
an elder came on stage and mentioned me. Tim brought me up, a couple times. So like, and all that to say, I was making an announcement, and like I'm sure everyone has like a certain like bit in this where they say, fill out the Connect card or fill out this information. And we promise, like you have to say this now. We promise to protect your information. We're not going to sell it. We're not going to do this or that, right?
It was a funny bit.
So I have this constant joke where I say, if you give us your information, we promise to protect your information. We're not going to sell it. We promise we're not going to put you on some mailing list where you're going to get offered to buy oils. And good bit. It's historically a good bit.
I laughed at all 3
People
services.
laughed.
Yep.
After one of the services, a woman a beeline straight to me, and
love
she's like, "What's wrong with oils?" And I was like, "Oh no!" And I was like,
I diffuse everywhere I go.
"Nothing's wrong with oils. My whole house smells like lavender. I'm sorry, I didn't mean anything by it." And then they were like, "I just wanted to make sure," and I said, "I just want to make sure people know that we're not taking their information and putting them in pyramid schemes." In which she responded, "MLMs are not pyramid schemes," and I was like, "Okay, I'm sorry."
To which I would respond, "MLMs are 100% pyramid schemes." Have you bought into my downline yet?
Hey, do you think we could start a pyramid scheme? Like
Yes.
use this podcast to make a little bit of money that way?
Look at all the downline we have right here in
Look
the
at-
comment section.
Yeah.
And guys, if you have your own downline, you too can make it into the top tier of sellers. Maybe win a trip. Hey, we could give away
Trip
some
to
Apple.
the Practically Pastoring Conference.
We could give away some Apple Watches. We could do all sorts
That'd
of
be
fun
great.
giveaways if you make it into like the
We just
top
need to
tier of
find
sellers.
something useless to sell.
What are we selling? Help us in the comments. How can we start our own MLM?
We could
The
start
morning after pyramid schemes?
We could start a course.
Morning after
We
pyramid
could create a course on how to create courses.
Yes, I'm in.
That's
I love this.
what we should do.
This is working.
Hey,
Jesus Jeep Ducks. I mean, that's it.
have you
That kinda-
We can produce Jesus Jeep Ducks.
have you been struggling to really reach your congregation the way that you used to?
Go on.
This one class with 700 hours of content from the 3 of us, you could buy into it. And then we'll give you a code so that you can sell it on your Facebook page as well. That sounds like people have been doing that too much all over my Facebook. I don't want to.
How about
I don't wanna get
suns
anyone's-
out, guns out, doesn't matter what the temp is.
I mean, I don't know what the class would be.
We could
I mean,
sell
for the
that.
Guns Out, again, that would make sense at Lakeview.
We could sell that.
But-
What if it was a clothing line?
I think they're talking about your son.
I know.
And they're talking about the.
I'm just
Pyramid Pastoring.
Oh, there we go. There we go.
That's the one.
We're gonna get a graphic made.
Let's
Pyramid
go, Laura.
pastoring.
There
Yeah,
you
that's
go.
it.
That's the one.
We were waiting on that one
Yeah, I think we could make Pyramid Pastoring work. And
because let's be honest, we've never made any money on this podcast.
On none of our podcasts, we've made $0.
I'm saying,
We go into debt for every conference we do. So,
it's fine.
why
It's
are we
fine.
not good business people?
oh man,
Because that's probably why our people actually like us. Because the pastors that are good business people try to build sports complexes in Pasco County.
Wow.
Allegedly.
Wow.
Allegedly.
That wasn't me.
It wasn't Tim.
Look,
Very
Lakeview
close
Athletic
to
Club, it still exists.
Okay.
It currently has a disc golf course on it.
There you go.
So we can say Lakeview Athletic Club has survived all these years.
I love it. I love all of it. Fellas, we got to hang out last night a little bit.
Oh, do we have to bring that up?
Well, I'm just saying you sent a wonderful text message
I did.
out to us
I did.
on Saturday night saying, hey, if you don't have plans to watch the Bucks game,
Yep.
we're doing a thing. You had a little impromptu men's group gathering at
Just a couple
Lakeview.
guys. Just a couple guys. Yep. There's like
And,
10, 15 of us.
Did everybody leave at halftime?
We all left at halftime.
Everybody left kind of encouraged, then went home to be very disappointed, except for Frank, who didn't know that the Buccaneers lost until this morning when I said something to him.
I went to bed.
He watched the first half of the
Wow.
game with all of us
Wow.
and didn't think, I should see this thing out.
At
till the
least make
end.
sure you know who wins.
I-
CJ says pyramid pastoring. It's like DYM, but
I don't know that we can keep reading this. We still
the more
Tim and I
people
still
under
sell
you,
stuff.
the more access to materials. Hey, could we buy you, and instead of paying you, we'll just pay you in friendship. That would be our way to make extra dollars. So Frank, you came. Andrew, you came last night.
I did. I
We
brought
had
a child with me.
and your son was so sweet. He was
He's-
cracking all of us
I want to
up.
watch every football game with your son.
Here's
I
the-
told your
here's so
son
fun.
he is forever invited to every watch
Here's
party.
the thing about watching football with Lukey. If you're watching it in the student center at Lakeview with a big sound system turned on, it's fine. Trying to sit on the couch next to him with like the regular soundbar speakers and like, dude, I would like to hear what Kirk Herbstreit has to say. I don't need you to give me all of the stats of that
You
particular.
need to turn the volume down and just let
just have Luke
him
do the play-by-play.
do the commentary.
He would be thrilled. What I'm kind of hoping.
Ken, you know where it's at.
I'm
it's
a
at.
big fan of Darren Ravel. He used to be at ESPN, and I don't even know where he's working now. But he said that his secret to getting into the sports media business was that all of his buddies thought they were going to be high school or college and professional athletes when they were in high school, and he realized by the time that he was in middle school that he was not, and so he started to focus on the other aspects of sports. He's like, how do I stay involved in sports when I know I'm not good enough to make the team? And I'm not saying that's going to be Luke, but I'm saying, what, 0.02% of athletes ever get a shot at sniffing anything professionally?
For sure.
So he's a smart kid who likes to talk. He should start working on his play-by-play stuff now.
Or
Could do it.
Or I mean, make more money.
Could
Be
do
a
it.
sports agent or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, show me the money. I saw this movie about that once. I don't know
Yeah.
if you've seen it.
I'm a Christian, so obviously I do not watch R-rated films.
No.
But we got there. I mean, this is so fun. Like
Who brought all the food? The tater tot casserole.
Okay, we had a champ who brought his signature recipe of, get this, sloppy Joe tater tot casserole.
which, by the way, is the most Midwestern dish to bring to a football
yeah.
game. I loved it.
And
I
It's so
loved
good.
it.
I
It's so
assumed it was
I
Frank because I was like,
loved
oh, this
it.
tastes like Wisconsin.
And I did not complain at all. Tater tot casserole is my all-time favorite food. I've never had it with sloppy Joe, and I wanted to put it on a bun, honestly.
We have tater tot casserole here after church about once a month.
My kids don't like it,
It's
so I have to make it
delicious.
for myself.
We had two different people bring different kinds of chili yesterday. They had signed up
I
to
love chili.
do the hospitality, and they were like, hey,
You can have
it's
multiple types of
cold.
chili. That's fine.
And so we had two different chilies. One was a white chicken chili.
Why would you not have a chili Sunday where
Well,
everyone
so
brings
here's-
their favorite chili?
Because it was so good, I thought for Super Bowl, we're going to do a chili cook-off after
Yes.
church on Sunday.
Yes, I'm
And
coming.
Here's what after I was talking with one
I'll
of
make
our
sure
elders
Frank's preaching. I'll be here.
of how we need to figure this out. And I think here's what we're going to do. We have the Maddie Williams Neighborhood Family Hood Center, who we support just up the road.
Yes, you do.
I think what we're going to do is we're going to tell people to bring in cans of soup to vote. So every can of soup is one vote for the different chilies. So we'll have a chili cook-off
good
on
idea.
Super Bowl Sunday.
I like the way
And
you vote.
The chili that gets the most stacked cans of soup behind it will be declared the winner.
Mhm.
And so we'll do our trophy for our fantasy football.
Yep.
And the chili cook-off on Super Bowl Sunday, but we'll spell Super Bowl Sunday, and so we'll
Like soup.
yeah, and then we'll take
That's punny.
all of our cans of soup over to the Maddie Williams Neighborhood Family Hood Center afterwards. So we're doing our canned food drive for the family center that we support. We're taking care of hospitality after church on that Sunday, and we're doing football themed stuff, and we get chili.
Erica, we're not doing it this year. We've done it many years. We're taking the year off from the Super Bowl party. However, I just heard that Safety Harbor Community Church is doing a chili cook-off.
Oh, that's during the morning. That's not.
So Erica, you guys are going to have
You
to.
can
I
come
know.
visit here.
I know you're third service peoples, but what if you came to the early service
Come to the early service, then come here, get 2 services,
and
and get
participate
soup.
in the chili cook-off?
Have I told my story about the last time I was in a chili cook-off?
Hang on.
8,000 times.
CJ says we do a chili cook-off. Take donations for youth and kids men's. Each chili gets a jar. Most money in their jar. How about a fundraiser?
That's a great idea too.
Andrew, I love this story so much. I need to hear it again. Go.
The previous church I was at, we had a chili cook-off, and I had signed up to enter, and I didn't make any chili.
And for the record, I've retold this story many times.
Okay, so I went.
Not here.
I went to Wendy's because at Wendy's you can buy a
It's the best.
family-size version of Wendy's chili is so good because
it's actually
the
good.
fresh, never frozen beef, so they have to use all of their beef.
Yep.
And so if they don't sell
funny.
the burgers, they chop it up and make chili.
Yep.
And so I got a family-size thing. It's kind of like when you go to Starbucks and you buy like the gallon of coffee or whatever it is. It comes in something like that, but it's chili. So I poured it in a crock pot. I put 5 or 6 of the Wendy's hot sauce packets in, and I labeled Andrew's drive-through chili was the name.
That's
You had to
funny.
name your chili.
That's funny.
And I came in second and was like, it tastes so familiar. I was like, yeah, I bet it does. And I told people.
Very
Now,
familiar.
fortunately, the guy who won, who spent like 17 hours making his
Is
chili,
Mr. Chili.
so that was good that he won. Dylan,
I wish you
shouldn't
won.
you be teaching right now? Shouldn't you be in some kind of a class?
I retell that story, except I always say you won.
No, I came in second.
It's better if you win.
I'm
keeping my
It's a lie.
version.
I
I'm
came in
keeping my
second.
version.
But what I'm wondering now is if we do the chili cook-off, when we do the chili cook-off, is Wendy's chili available at 8 in the morning or 9 in the morning?
You're gonna have to crock pot it the night before.
Or do I have to get the thing of chili the night before, put it in the fridge, and then crock pot it when I get to church in the
that
morning?
might be the option.
One year, we had a soup club as a staff every Tuesday.
Soup club.
Yeah,
Is
we
that
did.
like a book club except with soup?
Basically for our staff meetings in the winter, different staff would bring soup, and it's a way to like.
That's kind of cool.
It was great.
Should we bring that back?
But what I did is I would go to Costco and buy like their giant
Oh, heck
soups
yeah.
and then
Yeah,
put it
yeah,
in
yeah.
a crock pot. And people were like, oh, because every time you get a soup, everyone would be like, what's the recipe? And then I would just make it up. And then right before I left, I was like, I went to Costco every time. So
I
people
love
loved it.
Sam's. There's the baked potato soup. And
Oh,
the
yeah.
big thing that's delicious, but also the Panera broccoli cheese soup.
The
which
Panera
is-
broccoli cheese is
I
good.
love the Panera broccoli cheese, and it tears me up.
So is the
More
Florida
information than you
Florida
need.
version of the soup club the pub sub club? Like every week we bring a different public sub.
That'd be
be
sick.
great.
Like a public tray. Yeah.
Fellas,
Absolutely.
listen, it is almost noon.
Yeah.
I'm getting hungry. Like
Um,
all this food talk is making me so hungry.
I figure as we get ready to sign off, I'm going to start hitting play on my Spice Girls
Why are you-
playlist here.
Why?
Because
You better hold it to the microphone. and sing it.
Frank didn't know that this was an actual Spice Girls song, that 2 Become 1. And Frank, the title of the song is The Number 2 Become the Number 1. It's
Nice.
We're gonna get dinged for copyright now.
Yeah. This is not going to be able to post on.
it's a great
Why would
song.
Hey.
It's a great song.
We're here. Are we? Hey guys, next
I
next
think fair
next,
use is you can use 30 seconds of something.
Next Monday is a
Well,
holiday.
We're not going to be here.
We probably won't be here. Our kids won't have school. I don't think.
No.
Do they?
We will not be here.
I'll ask my wife.
Ooh, hang on.
I should probably know my kids' school
Thai
schedule.
coconut chicken soup. That sounds delicious.
I can't read any more food stuff. We have to go get food now.
We got to go someplace with soup.
I'm dying. I'm starving.
Hey, we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Miss you already. See you soon.
Bye.